Hey, welcome to the channel, everybody. Today is a new video series I'm doing on how I built my house. And for those of you who don't know, I spent about a year building my own house. I completed about 95% of it myself. I subbed just a few things out and ended up with what I think is a really good house that's livable and is super efficient and affordable. And there's a lot that went into that. And I kept a journal with all the thoughts I had, all the stuff I had, and then as I built the house, all the steps that I took in building it. And once, of course, a lot of the stuff I put here on YouTube, put some videos and stuff, but a lot deeper into that, I had people asking me how I did this, how I did that. So a couple of months ago, I thought, man, I should really write all this down, type it out in electronic form, and that way I could send it to people, because I have a few friends that are maybe considering doing the same thing. So then I thought, I ought to just write a book. I ought to just write this up in a book. And honestly, everything is just, it's going really well. It's falling into place. I found a publisher. Things are going really well. The book is in the first stage of editing right now. There's a lot more to it than I probably had ever thought. But just getting the financial side of it, every page, every picture costs money, images, all this stuff, copyrights, all this stuff. So anyway, I thought I would start a video series highlighting the book, highlighting maybe a Reader's Digest version of each chapter, just kind of, seeing if you guys are interested in that. So here we go. I'll start off with the very beginning. How did I get this land? And how did I decide to build my own house? So funny enough, I was talking to a guy at work who built his own house. He built a real log cabin, not from a kit, like he peeled the bark off the trees and stacked them up and made his own log cabin. It's a beautiful home too. Anyway, I asked him where he got his land. He said Craigslist, and at the time I had never even been on Craigslist. So we were standing there talking, and I jumped on a computer. We were at work. Jumped on a computer, pulled up Craigslist, typed in land and my zip code, and this land was for sale. So my wife and I already owned a few acres, and I called her and said, hey, I found this land for sale. She said, we've got plenty of land. We don't need any more land. So I said, no, let's just go check it out. So the next morning, we rolled into here. It looked nothing like this, and we decided to buy it. We decided to buy it. We bought it that week. We signed the contract that week and closed just a few weeks later. So now we had this land. So what were we going to do with it? So we've been living here about a year now. One little side note, if you don't like mud, you're not going to like building. We've been here about a year. This is the very back side of the house. Still muddy, look at that. So anyway, one thing that I was saying from before and during building is, a home is a building that's meant to shelter you from the environment. That's all a house is. Everything else is extra. And we were trying to find a builder that had the same ideas as us. Like we were already in debt on this land, and I had plans to get out of debt, and we had a lot of equity in our other house, and at the time I was working 2 jobs, and I thought, we'll get this paid off. But the goal was to hire a builder to build a house here and just do it turnkey, like this was going to be our forever house, and we'll just go the normal route, because we had done that before. Just soon after we got married, I owned some land, and we built a new house. Built a turnkey, it's 1,305 square feet, brick ranch with partial basement. The whole house turnkey done was $122,000, and I did a few little things on the inside. And it's not a real big house. We actually had to take the garage off to cut the price down, and I added a pole barn later. I built myself, but that's what we were. I knew things that would go. I knew price would go up, but I had no idea what we were in for. And honestly, it was probably some error on my part as to not knowing. But my thing with land was they're not making any more of it. I got a real good deal on this. I paid, let's just say, half of what I have seen other properties go for. But it was scrub ground. It looked nothing like this. It's real hilly. You can't. Around here is real big row crop farming. You can't farm this. It's too hilly and woody and everything. And they've already logged it out. They had put oil wells out here, pumped all that out. So it was kind of trashed, if you will. So we started talking to builders. We ended up talking to 7 different builders, and we were absolutely shocked. We have a family of 4, and I thought what we need is about a 1,500 square foot ranch, 3 bedroom, 2 bath with a full basement. And I was thinking, I'm a handy guy. I can finish the basement out myself. I might be able to do a few things. We'll make it real nice. Just a place to live. That's all we need. And I thought the basement would be good because I've got a lot of stuff that's in my barn and all this stuff. I thought we can store everything in the basement, and I can build an outbuilding, do whatever. So we're getting estimates: 1,500 square foot ranch with a basement for $330,000 to $350,000. That does not include the price of the land, the driveway, the water, the power, the septic. That is the price of the house. If you add the price of the land and the utilities and the road, I was going to be at $453,000 to $457,000 for a 1,500 square foot ranch with a basement, and that was unobtainable for me. It was not unobtainable to get the loan because they're willing to lend you into insanity. I was unwilling to strap myself to $500,000 for that. So this this was quite a bit of contention, right? So I bought the land. I took a loan on the land. I'm working 2 jobs, trying to pay the land off. Of course, I have a regular, my other mortgage. And so now what are we going to do? We're going to back up and punt. We're going to sell this. We started looking at other houses. Like, what are we going to do? Well, then it was like, well, we find another house. And now we got to sell this. And it was some contention. I mean, it wasn't real bad, but it was 2 years of looking at builders, talking. Meanwhile, I did fence out here, put some cattle out here, so I was kind of enjoying it out here. Trying to do the best I could. I had some ponds dug, so I was dumping some money in it. But now, what was I going to do? So for some reason, not for some reason, but basically the debt forced us into doing something, right? I didn't want to give the land up. I owed money on the land. I owed money on another house, so we got to do something. I'm not paying for both. So what was my motivation? Well, it was just I needed a place to live. and I wanted to be out here. I lived in the county, but it was starting to get congested where I was. And so we had been following the Dave Ramsey plan for years. And I know, obviously, not to the letter, because we borrowed money against this land. But I was looking at this as a move. I was looking at this as I had no other debt. I had a house. I had a 15-year, fixed rate mortgage that I was paying over on, and I was like, that's fine. The land to me was buying another house. I had to buy the land to put the house on, and I wanted all the numbers to work out, and I really wanted to be under my payment, under 25% of my take-home pay, which is kind of what Dave Ramsey says, and I think that makes sense, right? So the banks were willing to lend me closer to 50%, which I thought was too much. So at this point, I could have saved myself so much time if I listened to my family. Several people who told me, Patrick, you're just going to build your own house. I don't know why you're talking to builder. I talked to everybody. I talked to 7 home builders. Around here, pole barn homes are big. I went and talked to several pole barn builders. I looked at everything. I read every single book in the library on home building. I spent endless hours on the internet searching, and building had always been kind of a I don't say a passion, just an interest of mine. I've built different buildings, barns and different things, and this is our 7th house. I've remodeled like every house we've lived in. So, I've kind of done the things, but I've never done anything, full home build. So, it's very intimidating. And I have 2 pretty good friends that built their own house, and neither one of them had built anything like that before. And I tell them that's why they did it, because they didn't know how much work, and both their homes turned out really nice. But I don't think they knew how much they were getting into. And I knew a little bit. Like, I knew, not fully, but I knew a little bit of what I was getting into. So I had the raw land, and so now I'm starting to think, maybe I should build my own house. I've talked to all these builders, and this is not obtainable. It doesn't seem, not what I want. None of them. We talked to one. We talked to so many. I talked to I talked to a home builder. My wife and I were in the thing, and he's telling us how the house he just built, the kitchen cabinets were $50,000, and I just said, we're in the wrong place. We need to leave. This is not our guy. I'm looking for the guy that's like, I don't care that, I get as a builder, you're going to build what people want, but I want somebody that values value, right? Is not just on a spending spree because they want to be on the magazine of, Home Builder magazine, which is awesome, but somebody has to pay for that. The general contractor's not paying for that. Here's what I know. I talk to people, and listen, don't take this the wrong way if you're a GC, okay? You're doing fine. Like, people want, general contractor. People want your work. They're paying for your work. Around here, they're so busy they can't even take a job. You got to call them 15 times to get them to even answer. Trust me, I called them all. And nice people. Once again, through the whole book, I know it sounds like I'm bashing general contractors, but here's what I figured out about them. They charge you a fee for their service. They charge you a fee to be generally a scheduler. A general contractor generally doesn't do a lot of the hands-on work. They might have a thing they do here or there, like some of them are framers, or some of them are finish carpenters, or some, whatever. They sometimes do that, but for the most part, they sub out everything to be done, and that's fine. So they're managing a project for you. They charge you a fee for that. Second, they mark up the subs. Every person they hire, they get a cut of that. And once again, I'm speaking in generalities, and I'm sure that there's somebody out there that says, I never do that, but okay, I talked to quite a few of them, and we'll get into that later. Okay, there's no incentive for a bargain. There is none. They go to Builder Supply Warehouse, where they get treated great. People know them. If they need a board, they'll run it out. Like, there's great customer service. But the prices are like double at big box stores. And I mean, there's no incentive for them. It's not their money. And the reason there's no incentive for them is at the end of the year, these wholesalers give them kickbacks. And so there's incentive to spend more money. They get more kickbacks. So that's like a reward point from the supplier. Second, they probably pay with a credit card if they're smart, and because they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they can get 2 or 3% cash back on your money. So there's a lot of incentives to be a general contractor. And once again, I'm not saying the job is easy. I'll give you a little background about me. I have kind of a financial mind. I have a bachelor's and master's degree in business. And so when I'm talking with these people, I'm looking at it as a business transaction. I don't get tied up in emotions of, this and that. And I'm trying to simplify this process. I understand managing a project, and I just could never understand their numbers. And I had one actually put his books right out in front of me, and I was just like, oh, let me see the numbers, because that's my wheelhouse. That's what I want to see. And he was making about $50,000 to be the general. It was a little over $50,000 to be the general contractor on a single home build. And he said he had 5 of them going. That day we were talking, he says, I got 5 in progress right now. He showed me his books. I'm thinking, this is awesome. Maybe I'm in the wrong line of work. Once again, hey, there's a demand for it. People are paying it. Go for it. I just couldn't get on board paying it. So I decided I'm just going to do this thing myself. So the first step was, what am I going to build? I talked to a couple of friends that did this, and one bought his plans, and one planned his own house. And the one that planned his own, or the one that built a log cabin, was explaining to me that square is the most efficient shape. And I've talked about this in other videos, so I decided to build a square house. I was going to really take this house down. I was going to go, because I was looking at about 1,500 square feet, I was going to do a 30 by 40 rectangle. And he said, you need to be 40 by 40. You're going to add, I think, about 400 square feet just by 20 linear feet of wall. And so I redesigned my house. I drew my own plan, and I took it in to a draftsman to have it, professionally done, big blueprints, the full deal. And he called me. He called me and he said, well, here's how much we charge. He goes, got your plans and everything. It's going to be about $500. I was like, okay, no problem. So I go to pick them up, I dropped him off. We explained him a little bit. He didn't look at him a great deal. When I picked him up, he said, "You drew all this to scale?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Like everything, the vanities, the sinks, the counters, everything on." I had a big grid paper I bought from Office Depot, or big graph paper. And he says, "I didn't do anything." So he actually only charged me half, which is, whatever. I was happy. Saved me like $250. So that kind of started the trip down this whole journey, right? So now I had the plans. What am I going to do now? So now I had to get that. That was like the first step into this whole process, and that jumped me off into getting a building permit, started talking and getting dirt work, and all these things. So I think that's about good enough for today. I don't want to have this super long video. I'll have more videos to come. I'm going to basically just walk through this whole process. So I hope you guys liked the video. I'll put some pictures at the end of this video, so stay tuned through. I'll put some pictures of the house so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. And I hope you tune in for the rest of this series on how I built my house. I hope it's interesting to some of you guys. So if you wouldn't mind, think about subscribing, liking the video, all that stuff. And once again, any questions, put them below. I like to answer them. I try to answer all the questions that are asked. Hopefully through this there will be some questions. The one reason I did YouTube videos at all, and I continually tell people, I don't love doing them, but I've learned so much from them. I feel like giving back to those people that I might have a little bit of something to offer, because I've been down this road and completed this. So anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching the video. Tune in for the next one, and I'll see you guys next time.